Tinker Toys for yarn lovers. What am I up to now? Hey everybody, it's me, Margaret. I'm a Mississippi native transplanted to Atlanta, Georgia, where I sheepishly share things I love with you. And today I'm loving this yarn bobbin holder that my husband and son whipped up for me. One of my goals for 2018 is to do color work, not only for knitting, but I would like to try a corner-to-corner crochet graph. Now these types of projects involve lots of colors of yarn that need to be active and ready because you're jumping from one to another throughout the project. The challenge is keeping the strands from getting tangled. Now there are lots of options for getting this done, but I had specific requirements, and whenever I need help with ideas, I turn to Pinterest. I figure there's always someone smarter than I am out there that's probably come up with just what I need, and that's exactly what happened. I found my perfect DIY yarn bobbin at onedogwolf.com. The project on this blog met all of my requirements. First, it had to be able to hold a full-size skein, and not just a small bit of color. I also had to be able to have a bajillion colors if I wanted, and they had to be movable, easily movable, or I wouldn't use it. I know myself very well. Now this blogger, Cʀᴇ, I think that's how you pronounce her name, she's from Taiwan. She had all these same requirements, but also was smart enough to know that it needed to be stable, which is something I didn't even consider. So I enlisted the help of my bored for the holidays husband, who, it's important to note, has no real handyman skills to speak of. So let's start with our materials here. What'd you buy us, Tucker?
2 3/8" diameter, 48" length dowels.
Okay.
1x4.
Okay, a 1x4. It's worth noting here that the blog instructions suggested a slimmer, thinner board, but Tucker's 1x4 suits me just fine. And it's 2 feet long, by the way. And 2 of these guys. And that's all you bought, right?
That's the total materials that needed.
How much was it?
$4.22.
Okay. So of course we already had the clamps and, whoa, the drill and all that kind of stuff. So let's see what happens. Cʀᴇ's instructions were very clear, filled with good tips like how not to drill through your base, and made for a very quick and easy and cheap project. The link to these instructions will be in the description box, but just look how quick and easy this was. First, he marked the dowels in 8-inch increments and cut those up. Then he trimmed the 1x4 to 2 feet long. Following the instructions closely, he marked the holes for each bobbin. The bobbins are placed every 2 inches and are staggered on the second row. Each row is separated by 1 inch. Just as Cʀᴇ suggested, he put tape on the drill bit to show him where to stop so he wouldn't drill all the way through the board, and it worked like a charm. Ta-da! Here it is. The knots on the board look like holes, so don't be confused. He did it exactly right. You start with a heavier grade sandpaper and then you move to a lighter grade to finish it off. Now what you didn't know is that I had handed the camera over to Tyler and went inside to finish what I was doing. When I came back about 20 minutes later, it was virtually completed. I guess the whole project probably took about, I don't know, 45 minutes?
You can rearrange these anywhere you want them. You can take some out if you've got a bigger skein or whatever.
Skein.
Yeah. Ah, the age-old question. Is it skein or is it skein?
Skein.
Did you get some of this action?
Yeah.
There are other great options for managing yarn for color work, as you can see here in my Pinterest search. These clips, for example, are great, but they can't hold a full skein. And these cardboard bobbins are virtually free and easy to make, but they aren't affixed to anything, so I can see myself making quite a mess with this method. These mini skeins, or butterfly skeins, present the same problem. This one is the same concept as Cʀᴇ's version, but not nearly enough bobbins to allow for more color variety. And who doesn't love these guys? But as it turns out, they aren't even something you can buy. The big ones are for display purposes. But you can get these teeny tiny ones, but they're about the same thing as the cardboard bobbins, right? This one's easy to make, but not easy to change and rearrange on the fly. Same for this one. And I saw lots of different versions of these, but besides being $40, they fit none of my requirements. No full skeins, only 5 bobbins, and it's not so easy to remove and replace. Now I think it's safe to say that I found just what I was looking for, and maybe one day I'll take the time to paint it or stain it. But probably not. Now at the beginning of this video, I mentioned Tinker Toys. If you happen to have some old Tinker Toys laying around, or maybe you can find some at a thrift store or something like that, you could still do this same project by getting the same kind of board that I have here, which is a 1x4, cut it 2 feet long, and glue those little Tinker Toy circle things on here with some heavy-duty glue. And then all you'd have to do is take, you know, the different dowels that come with the Tinker Toys, and you could put it in there and poof, you have one without having to even lift a saw. So yeah, there you go. Of course, I don't have any Tinker Toys around anymore now that my kids are all older, but and the thought didn't occur to me actually. But in the meantime, we have this great blog that taught us how to do this, One Dog Wolf. I'm going to leave the link in the description box below, and be sure to check out that blog too, because she's got some super projects on there besides you know, something like this, some actual great patterns and whatnot. So I hope I turned you on to something new. Talk to you soon. Bye.